you play your cards right and your girl will get this dick tonight. Can you swallow that? Cause I bet she can.
Hey everybody, it's Brian here, also known in some infamous circles as Mondo greater than Eddie.
Jess, also known as the Dominican Python.
I'm Gio.
And right now we're getting ready to get underway with our top, we did a top 25 list of matches from WWF Superstars 1996. And today we're going to be focusing on the top 10, doing a little bit of a breakdown. Let's just get things started, guys.
You want to take the first one?
Alright. The first match on the list, coming in at number 10, is a tag team match. It's Owen Hart and Davey Boy Smith against the team of Savio Vega and Jesse James. Now this was a match that we had all across the board different opinions on, votes. I had it at number 5, so quite high. Gio at 13. Jess didn't make your list.
No.
A bit disconcerting, but not as much so as the last time that we did one of these things, when my number 1 fell to make former NHO member Adam's list entirely. But I guess quick reasonings why I did enjoy the match as much as I did. I thought it was really good personification of the tag team of DBS and Owen Hart. Their heel mannerisms, their timing, their execution, the way that they cut off the ring. I thought this was like the best example of what they do and do well. Jesse James, as I mentioned in my little write-up, he was kind of awkward in the ring, terrible get-up. You know, I won't hold it against him. Savio Vega, absolute workhorse of the set, in my opinion, the MVP. Took the ball and ran with it whenever he was on. You know, I honestly feel that this match is probably, as far as the tag team matches throughout the year went, easily top 3 for tag action. And I dug it.
Me too. It was Battle of the Spinning Heel Kick.
Yeah, I mean, how can we live without that?
I like Owens better, though. I have to disagree with you.
But I guess enough said on that. We'll move forward to number 9.
Shawn Michaels against Salvatore Sincere.
Tom Brandy, for you Northeastern indie guys from the early to mid-90s.
There was a lot of Shawn stuff on this set. You know, a lot of people like varying matches for different reasons. I think the reason I like this one more because, you know, it was somebody that Shawn probably would have never normally wrestled. And it actually turned out really well. I think once he did his usual stuff in the beginning, which was pretty exciting, he let Brandy kind of take over, and he just kind of did his own thing. And then Shawn just sold accordingly to what he was doing, which was, you know, well-paced, just real good action.
Yeah, I did think it was an action-packed match. I have my personal reasons for not being a huge Shawn Michaels fan, and I've always felt that way, but in this particular case, he really shined here. His pinball bumping, his recklessness, his willingness to basically bump all around for, you know, a mid-card act at best, quite impressive. And surprisingly, I think for me, one thing on this match is that I actually had a different Salvatore Sincere match higher than this one. It was a match between Salvatore and Aldo Montoya, which I had beat this by a few spots. But no, Shawn really excelled here and was a real joy to watch. And I think I said in my review, this is probably the best, you know, rub or opportunity Salvatore Sincere got to look good during his entire tenure in WWF. So
Probably more than likely.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. How about the first match we all had on our list?
okay,
Razor Ramon and Jeff Jarrett.
we had this all on our list.
I had it at 11.
I had it at 13.
Gio, you had 21. I think, like you said in your review, I had called you. I think I was the first one that saw this, and I was like, this is kind of like the Jarrett program. Like,
Yeah.
Jarrett just kind of ran the ring and just really made it all fit together.
Yeah, Jesse called me on the phone and he pimped this, and yeah, absolutely. This was basically only about 5 or 6 minutes, with the exception of the 1-2-3 Kid bringing out a oversized baby bottle and a stroller, which was hilarious, great comic value there. The whole match was basically built around Jarrett selling punches. And I know that some people are like, 5 minutes of Jeff Jarrett eating punches, not my idea of a fun Sunday afternoon. But please do watch the match. And I think my highest acclaim that I could give this match is in my review I said it actually made me want to go out and seek out the 4-disc Jeff Jarrett set from TNA. That's something that not many people have ever said under any condition or circumstance.
What were you on?
No, but honestly, my reasoning for saying that is that if this guy can make 5 minutes of Scott Hall punches look awesome and dynamic and each one completely different and exciting, then I would like to revisit some of his work that I wasn't so keen on in years past, and see if it may hold up a little bit better.
I think that was what was kind of cool about this, because all you can remember, because he's been doing it so long, is the Jarrett, TNA and WCW. There's so much bad that just filters your brain. You're like,
Yeah.
God, could he ever work?
Yeah, it's nice seeing him.
Hell yeah, he could.
Yeah, it's nice seeing him a little plucky and.
My favorite part was the teasing of the Razor's Edge in the match in the very beginning, and it was a really sick top rope assisted suplex. I really dug that.
Big
Just
bump.
really fun.
Patent Hall.
Really fun match.
Now, Gio, speaking of your opinions, really want to get you to voice in on this next matter. At number 7, it's Mark Merrow versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Now, I had this match at 19.
I had it at 20.
Ugh. This is my number 1.
And this was your number 1. Now, I before having seen it, you had spoke extremely highly of it to both me and to Jesse. And please tell everybody why it's the best match of the year for you.
Alright. This was the number 1 match because the energy level by both guys was amazing, I thought. So much crowd heat on Helmsley, being the cocky, English heel, or whatever he was.
Aristocratic.
Yes.
Kind of guy.
The offense was great. I love Triple H's selling of the knee lift and his Irish whip. It was just every little thing he did was just like a little bit more effort than what I saw before. He was taking on guys like Barry Horowitz and all these guys that no one cares about, But Merrow's Frankensteiner is amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
I just love the match.
Great
energy, great back and forth.
For me, a couple notes off the top of my head. I do remember that the first act of the match I thought was tired. There was a lot of arm work by Merrow that didn't go anywhere. However, I finally started seeing the light about 2/3 through it. The second half, it does pick up quite considerably. It does get a lot of time, which I enjoy. There's a sequence out on the floor, which I loved. There's a body slam on the aisleway, which is one of the more probably dangerous bumps on the entire set.
Yeah.
We didn't see a ton. And I absolutely love the Super Hurricanrana as a finish. I remember when he had a short run in TNA, Merrow, and he tried to bust it out and almost broke his neck.
Oh, God.
I had a big belly laugh at that. But I did like it. It was near the bottom end of my ballot, but I certainly enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was enough to make the cut for sure. I think I ended up going with another. I think I actually ended up having Helmsley and Horowitz higher on my list. I liked their dynamic, a slower paced match. Horowitz bringing what he had to the table, and Helmsley selling accordingly. Yeah, I had the same thought you did at the beginning. It was just too slow, dragged too much for me.
Yeah.
I loved how much time they got
too
though.
high.
Yeah.
It was like one of the longer matches on the set.
Yeah, and I think later on this list we'll be getting to a match that got a lot of time that I really liked. But moving on now, rounding out the bottom half of this top 10 at number 6.
Go ahead. You can intro that one.
Yeah, please do. Number 6.
Alright, cool.
Let me read it off here.
Number 6 was Bradshaw versus Vega.
Yes.
I loved this match. I gave it a 5. I know we weren't really scoring it, but I gave it a 5.
And you had this at what spot on your list?
This was, I think it was
2.
2. God, 2.
And for me, this was number 11. Didn't crack my top 10, but I did enjoy it.
I love the great bump by Vega after the failed monkey flip. I don't know if you guys remember that, but there's solid arm work by Bradshaw, and it continued throughout the match. It didn't go anywhere. Like, it did not go anywhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it led to
Everything
something.
was meaningful.
Right.
And for me, I kind of equated it to like a really neat, even a better facsimile than like the JBL Guerrero matches from like the mid-2000s that were quite good. I thought this was a better version of that, which is high praise. Bradshaw is a guy that I think surprised us all.
Yeah.
I mean, not every match was great, but he did bring a certain intensity, which he's been known for in the past. And he was really channeling eating tobacco and screaming. Stan Hansen, a guy that we all admire and really respect. So this match, I felt, was arguably one, if not in the top 2 or 3 stiffest JBL performances, which is saying a lot. Or I shouldn't say JBL, I should say JHB, Justin Hulk Bradshaw. And Savio, again, I can't praise him enough. So
I actually this didn't make my list, and it's only because of technicality. Because when I was watching the match, I was super into it. I was watching it thinking, this is probably going to be a top 10 match. That bump you talked about, one of the craziest. Bradshaw just being ultra stiff on everything, and they actually had a good give and take. But my whole complaint is that there was no ending. And it wasn't the fault of the match, it's that we didn't have it on the tape.
Yeah, the discs that we got weren't in.
So by technicality,
Yeah, I know.
it would have made my list for sure, but I guess it was
That happened with
my
another one of
anger
mine, too.
when I saw it. I was like, what? I don't even know what you don't even know what
Yeah.
happened. So
Yeah.
it was a great match.
Okay, and now for the top 5. Okay, here's a match I'm going to introduce. It's Jake Roberts versus Justin Hulk Bradshaw. I had this at number 2.
Gio, you had it at 11. I had this at 15.
And since I had it the highest, I guess I'll go ahead and state my claim and speak my piece first. I absolutely love this match. It could have easily fell into my number 1 slot. Justin Hulk Bradshaw was a mean, determined Texan. Jake Roberts, this was a continuation of the story that climaxed at King of the Ring 96, where he's a recovering alcoholic. They touted him at age 41. He may have been even older at this point. He had a bad physique, but he had a lot of heart. You really felt for him if you got into the storyline and the character development. And we all know how it culminated with the boom of the Stone Cold Steve Austin thing at King of the Ring, but here's a little-known, I think, piece of that overall story that most of us had forgotten. I had certainly had. In 96, I was 14.
Wow.
So I had long forgotten this if I did see it, that fateful Sunday morning. But it's a great match. Basically, the story is, Justin Hulk is just beating the ever-living crap out of Roberts. Roberts is just trying to survive. Of course, he does. He gets a DDT, and this was I don't know if it was a semifinal or a quarterfinal. This was basically to get.
I think it was to get to the
pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And it was a very exciting and relieving finish. Roberts pulled out the victory, kind of an upset. I just thought it was a complete package. A lot of the matches on the show are kind of take them or leave them. We might find something to appreciate in them, but for the most part, they weren't meant to be remembered 10 years later. This is a match, I honestly feel, that would hold up. And, it's stuff like this that I think should have made, like, Jake Roberts' DVD years ago, not just, random matches.
Right.
But this is something that I think people would have really saw and appreciated.
It's kind of like Jake Roberts, in his own way, leaving a small love letter to his fans, because when you watch this match, Bradshaw, like you said, has no mercy, which is really kind of fun to watch. And it wasn't until the match is kind of progressing, and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out where this is going. Jake looks in awful shape. He's just getting pounded everywhere. But there's a moment when he gets up out of the buckle, and he kind of does the snake, the thing, how he gets out of the buckle. But you can see he's fine, and then he gives this labored breath, and I was like, this is selling. I mean, he's selling all this.
Yeah, his English selling
really well.
And I think something that Jake Roberts has always been known for, and I think this is a great example of it, is that his psychology is top notch, maybe in the top, echelon of guys in the entire history of the industry. And here, maybe not as much as some of his 80s stuff, late 80s. This still is a great example of that, and I think you painted a really good portrait of it.
Yeah, I think the reason why it didn't make it higher on my list was, I think at one point, Bradshaw, being still young in the business, I think he ran out of things to do.
Yeah.
It wasn't what Jake's performance portrayed. It was kind of Bradshaw not really knowing how to wrap it up.
Yeah.
My favorite part was, what better person to take on, Jake Roberts, being old and ailing and alcoholic, than an intense young upstart Bradshaw that would beat the crap out of him,
Yeah, a crazy redneck Texan.
What better way to get over a guy as being, like, decrepit and old and beat down than, being pummeled by this crazy
There's a nice little piece of footage that kind of adds to, when you think back, there was an interview by Vader going on during the match, because